The KDKA Sports Desk is brought to you by Xfinity.
Desk, and the Pirates unfortunately picked up where they left off in Chicago, and it's not an easy place to play in St. Louis, especially for Corey Dickerson tonight. First inning, you see what he does right there, misplays a ball. Goldschmidt scores because of an error, ruled an error right there, and it's 1-0. Bad guys. And then in the second, this one even looked worse on defense. Dickerson trying to play this Paul Goldschmidt ball, hits his glove. This isn't ruled an error, but in my book, Gene, that's an error. Goes off his glove. They give Goldschmidt a double for that, and that's the second run of the game. And you could see it right here again, Gene. I mean, I think I was always taught when it hits your glove, it's an error. That was not ruled an error, but Corey Dickerson having troubles out in left field tonight. And also, Mitch Keller, you know, he's maybe if the Pirates pitching continues to struggle here, the Pirates might want to think about bringing Mitch Keller back up again. Keller has been on fire lately, named International League Pitcher this week. In his last start against Columbus, Keller threw 6 shutouts, 8 strikeouts. He had all his pitches working. Keller gave up 14 runs in 3 starts with the Buccos this season. Might be time for another chance for Keller, Gene. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to show that he can do something at the major league level. He's been terrible when he's been up here. He might, you know, who knows, end up being one of those guys who is a AAA pitcher. But the Pirates are in a position where they've got to try a lot of different things to stabilize their starting pitching. And, you know, that's one options. I'm not saying it's a great option, but it is an option.
You know, I really hope that this isn't another Tyler Glasnow where he couldn't Pirates.
Mm-hmm. That too is a possibility.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Jack out in Mount Lebanon. What's up, Jack? Jack, you there?
Hello, Jack.
Jack. It's called up here, Jack. Do you hear us?
Jack's a quiet man.
Okay, we're going to go out to Bob in Clearfield. Bob, you there? I don't know. Something might be wrong with the phones.
Baseball fan for more
Oh,
than
there we
50
go.
years.
Hey, how you doing, Bob? Go ahead, start over again.
Gentlemen, thank you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I was going to say to you, said being a baseball fan for more than about a half a century, one thing was always consistent, and that was the St. Louis Cardinals' ability to play good defense. That is one of the things they've historically known for and continue to be to this very day. As far as the Pirates goes, you see this every year. Their payroll is only half of the average, and all you end up with is a half a season's worth of talent that starts to get beaten down by superior talent and superior depth by the other teams and more contending teams to sit, and if they don't have the depth, they go to trade deadline and get it. And I've seen this so many years, and it does start to bother you after a while. As far as minor league talent, you got maybe 2 pitchers down there, but everything else appears to be down to Class A, and will be several years before it gets here. So that are my thoughts. Appreciate hearing yours.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. You're a little pessimistic, more so than I am. I mean, there's Will Craig, who's a first baseman, potentially could replace Josh Bell, Cole Tucker, Kramer is down there. I mean, they got some talent. They got some high first-round draft picks. Also, Agrizal, Keller. They could restock some of their guys, but I'm not totally down on their minor league system. And look, this is Corey Dickerson making the errors that we just showed you. He's a Gold Glove left fielder, at least one last year. Probably not on his way this year, but I mean, they're left and center field is pretty good for the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your assessment of the potential in the minor leagues, Richie, but I also agree with the caller about the payroll and the net effect of that kind of payroll over the course of a season. And we have seen it again and again, and to Pirate fans, I'm sure it's frustrating.
Yeah, $60 to $70 million below league average. I mean, that can't compete year in and year out. You might get lucky every once in a while, maybe like they did in, 13, 14, and 15. Right. But year in and year out, you can't, I don't know, whatever they you can't compete with that payroll every year. Yeah. Payroll does matter.
Oh, it definitely does. The Pirates, the way that they think they can compete is to have players like Josh Bell who are producing like $30 million players at $580,000. But you can only do that for so long, and you only have so many of those players, if you have any at all. So it's kind of like, I've compared it to the question of whether the Pirates could win the World Series. Well, yes, but it's like rolling a Yahtzee on the first spin, if you will. I mean, yeah, it can happen, but it's probably not going to.
Yeah, and you know what? The problem with the Pirates, and I hate to say that right now, but in the winter of 2020, they're going to be looking to. So you have this year and next year, and then you potentially might start hearing rumors about Josh Bell going because they might not be able to sign him.
No, that's exactly right.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Clint out in Altoona. What's up, Clint?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, thanks for calling.
Yeah, no problem. I pretty good agree with what you guys are saying. I was going to ask you, too. I was watching them 3 games in Chicago, and they got beat up a little bit, but they were in, it's sort of weird because they were in a couple games there, and I think the key screw-up, if you will, the one game was when that Quintana come up and got that hit. He was like a 050 lifetime hitter. That can't happen. That pitcher can't get a hit in that situation. And I think that's what the key problem with that. I mean, it just blew the floodgates open. But as you and Gene were just talking about, do you see, my regular question is, do you see any in the next 3 to 5 years the Pirates actually winning a division, getting further than what they did in 13, 14, and 15? Because I think Pirate fans get a little antsy now. 40 years from since a World Series title, they're spoiled with the Penguins and Steelers, and I don't see anything happening really. And I hate to say my lifetime, but I don't think anything's going to happen with them winning a World Series. Do you?
All right, Clint, thanks for your call. Gene, I'll let you tackle this one first.
Yeah, I wrote about this in my Sunday column, and the short answer is no. I don't see them winning another World Series. They can, get into certain situations where if things break for them correctly, they can compete as they did in the middle of this decade. But no, they're just not financially aggressive enough to compete, on a consistent basis. No, I don't think they ever will win another World Series.
I agree with Gene. I don't think they're ready to compete. I mean, they really need a lot more. And if you're talking about losing a guy like Josh Bell in 2 years, you know how to replace a guy like him. But, before we go to the break, I want to go out to Jim out in South Hills. What's up, Jim?
Yeah, I'm calling about the same thing as your last couple callers. Gene, your article Sunday was spectacular. You happened to write exactly what I've been thinking for years. And I was 8 when the Pirates won in 1960, so I've lived the good times. But I think it comes down to 2 things. Number 1 is we need another owner. I don't care what happens. If we don't get another owner, we have no chance. And number 2, the economics of the game need to be changed to some degree to allow us to compete. Your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with what you have to say. Gene, what?
No, I mean, we've kind of established that on this show. I mean, the Pirates need new ownership. They are not going to get it. That's the other thing. I mean, Bob Nutting will own the team as long as he can function, and after that, some other Nutting family member will own the team. That's all there is to it, at least from what I've heard. And I forget the second half of his.
He was talking about the ownership, or there needs to be some kind of change.
Oh, yeah, baseball's not going to do that. I mean, the commissioner said during the All-Star break that he doesn't consider that a problem. The lack of a salary cap, that's what we're talking about. He said that, the range of payrolls in the game used to be, the top teams were spending 2.5 times what the bottom teams were. Now it's only 1.5. Somehow he's comfortable with that. So.
I like how these guys spin everything. That's amazing. I mean, they can't see that only 10 teams compete basically every year.
And they also can't see that all 3 of the other major sports have figured out that you have to have a salary cap. The Penguins would have 2 Stanley Cup victories if it were not for the salary cap. Instead, they have 5.
All right, we're going to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls, and I want to ask Gene about a couple things when we come back, so stay right there.